Forget Roswell, seriously. Long before flying saucers were even a thing in pop culture, something strange apparently fell out of the sky over fascist Italy, and this kicked off a massive cover-up, ordered by none other than Mussolini himself. So let's get into it, because this is one of history's wildest and most secret UFO stories. So, picture this. It's June 13th, 1933. You're in the beautiful Lombardy region of Italy, maybe you're out in a vineyard, when suddenly, something comes screaming out of the sky and crashes, right between the towns of Vergiate and Magenta. And let me tell you, this was no weather balloon. So, what did people actually see? Well, this is where the story gets its first, kind of hilarious twist. The eyewitness accounts, they were all over the map. Some people swore they saw a bell-shaped craft. Others were convinced it was shaped like a cigar. The descriptions just didn't line up. And this quote just perfectly captures the vibe of the whole thing. The source material jokes that the description you got really just depended on whether the witness had been sipping a morning coffee or, a few glasses of a very strong local brandy called grappa. But hey, coffee or grappa, something definitely crashed, and the government's reaction was no joke. It was fast and it was severe. Yeah, for Mussolini's regime, this wasn't just some local curiosity. Oh no, this was a potential threat, and it had to be controlled immediately. And so the cover-up began basically the second that thing hit the ground. To deal with this totally bizarre event, Mussolini set up a super-secret group called Cabinet RS/33. Their job was pretty simple: get the object, study it in secret, and make sure absolutely nobody talked about it, ever. And boy, the orders to shut people up were not messing around. This first telegram lays it out plain and simple. You even whisper about an aircraft of unknown nature, and you're getting arrested. Immediately. The next message just hammers it in even harder, demanding absolute silence from everybody, no exceptions. And just to make sure everyone got the message, a final telegram promised maximum penalties for anyone who dared to speak. The message from the top could not have been clearer. This never happened. So you have to ask yourself, what on earth were they trying so desperately to hide? Now get this. The guy they brought in to figure this all out, it was Guglielmo Marconi. Yes, the Marconi, the inventor of the radio. What's fascinating is that Marconi already thought we could use radio to talk to other planets. So for him, this must have felt like hitting the jackpot. But the weirdness didn't stop with the Lombardy crash. Oh no, that was just the beginning. The mystery got a whole lot deeper as more strange things were seen in the skies. And Mussolini himself started saying some, very peculiar things. Right, so in a speech in 1941, years after the crash, Mussolini comes out with this absolute gem. He says it's more likely the U.S. will be invaded by Martians in unimaginable flying fortresses than by Axis soldiers. Was he just being dramatic, or was this a little hint that he knew something we didn't about visitors from, as he put it, the starry space? Then, fast forward to 1936, over Venice, witnesses saw this huge, metallic, torpedo-shaped thing that actually released two smaller discs from it. The Italian Air Force scrambled their fighter jets, but they didn't stand a chance. The pilot said trying to catch them was like trying to catch greased lightning with chopsticks. I mean, what a great description. So what was really keeping Mussolini up at night? According to a leaked document, it wasn't aliens. He was terrified that these things were some kind of advanced secret aircraft from the British or the French. If they had that kind of tech, his entire foreign policy would be toast. It just shows you the paranoia of the times. And that paranoia leads us to the next big question. If you get your hands on some kind of unknown, super advanced technology, what do you do with it? Well, you try to copy it, right? And this is where the story dives headfirst into the world of reverse engineering. So check out this timeline. In 1933, the mystery object crashes. Then, just 7 years later, in 1940, Italy, a country that wasn't exactly at the forefront of aviation, suddenly unveils the world's first jet prototype. Is that just a coincidence? Or did Marconi's team find a little something-something in that wreckage? And Italy wasn't the only Axis power with stories like this floating around. For decades, there have been whispers of a similar crash in Germany's Black Forest, which supposedly led to the development of those infamous Nazi flying saucers, the Haunebu discs. It's a whole other rabbit hole, but it just goes to show these kinds of ideas were definitely in the air. So as World War II starts to wind down, the story takes another crazy turn. The secret of the Lombardy crash didn't just vanish. Nope, it allegedly just got passed along, ending up right in the hands of the Americans. So what happened to the actual wreckage? Well, the story goes that after Mussolini's guys grabbed it in '33, it was hidden away at an airbase. But then, as the war was turning against the Axis, agents from the American OSS, which was basically the original CIA, supposedly swept in and took it for themselves in 1944. And here's the kicker. This isn't just some dusty old conspiracy theory. This exact story was recently brought back into the spotlight by the U.S. intelligence whistleblower, David Grush. He testified about this very incident, connecting a nearly 100-year-old Italian mystery directly to today's UFO hearings. Wild, right? Okay, so let's take a breath. After all these decades of secrecy, rumors, threats, and whispers, what are we left with? What is the legacy of this Lombardy crash? What are we supposed to make of this absolutely incredible story? I mean, that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Was this a real, genuine encounter with something not from this world, a secret that governments have managed to keep under wraps for 90 years? Or was it all just a product of intense wartime paranoia, where any blip in the sky was seen as a terrifying new weapon? This whole story just forces you to ask some really big questions. You know, the obvious ones, like, are we alone? And do governments hide this stuff from us? But also, as the source so perfectly points out, why do all these classic UFO descriptions, bell-shaped, cigar-shaped, flying discs, why do they always sound like props that were wheeled out of a 1950s sci-fi movie? In the end, we don't have that one piece of smoking gun evidence. But the paper trail, the testimonies, the weird coincidences, it all suggests that the real story of what happened in Lombardy back in 1933 is probably sitting in a dusty box in some forgotten government archive. The truth is still out there. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. If a story this absolutely massive could stay more or less hidden for this long, it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets, cosmic or not, are still lying buried in the world's archives, just waiting for someone to find them?